why it's coming out now is we wanted to wait, to get through all of the legal proceedings, the criminal trial, and it's 4 parts, and it spans over 30 years of, pop culture, his life. So it took some time, to say the least, to put all of this together.
It's an important story, and you could just tell it with all the public material. Mm-hmm. You go further, you've gotten your hands on some extra new material people are going to see for the first time, including this video. Any journalist would want to know how you got it, but it is Sean Diddy Combs in the heat of this, right before the arrest for the trial we just discussed, in private moments, talking to his lawyer, cameras running.
He also underestimated that some of, with every celebrity, you do have different claims and some are completely unfounded. But I think that some of these lawsuits, there's receipts, mm-hmm. and there's footage and there's voice recordings. And I think that for a man, it's also very interesting, for the culture of hip hop, so many artists record themselves, and they probably, when they were, recording themselves in 2005, never saw the year 2025 and how accessible that media would be to actually make a case for things. And I think that's a big part of the
50 Cent's newest Netflix documentary dropped on Tuesday and immediately became the talk of the town, captivating viewers with its brisk pacing and eye-opening disclosures. The film is carefully structured, bringing forward first-hand accounts from former insiders who were there behind the scenes, revealing sides of Diddy's life the public rarely gets to see. Packed with exclusive footage and stories that have never been widely shared, the documentary paints a vivid picture of his climb to superstardom, the controversies that trailed him, and the intricate network of influences that shaped his empire. It's a deep dive that not only entertains, but also uncovers layers of power, ambition, and behind-the-curtain drama that few have witnessed firsthand.
Only they can answer that question. I have my own opinion, but I wouldn't slander their name like they did mine. I wouldn't say things that I knew, you know what I mean? I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. Because you seen what I said in the Vibe article. I basically bowed out and was going to go ahead about my life. The next issue, that wasn't even the next issue, because them cowards waited about 4 issues before they got their story together. 4 issues later, half of New Yorkers commenting on me getting shot. And before, they was all like, we didn't see nothing. In the first issue, we did, Vibe viewers. Nobody seen shit. The 4th issue, when they came back with a reply, everybody knew what I did. They knew what I said. I was acting. Who gets shot 5 times in acts? Oh, I didn't get shot 5 times in their vision. I only got shot once because they found the bullet. The police found it, but now they the cops. Now they doing detective work. They found the bullet. Oh, you found the bullet, huh? So what is this other shit in me then? What was the doctors talking about? What? Can you explain these other holes in me? I like your gunpowder all over me. That insulted my intelligence. So yes, I did say Thug Life was there. Yes, I bowed out, all of that. But
ties it to Sean Combs. The Reckoning brings forward a new set of former Bad Boy Records associates and artists, each sharing their personal recollections of the chaotic period following the tragic losses of Biggie Smalls and Tupac. These stories aren't offered as hard facts, but as intimate reflections and lingering uncertainties that outlasted the media storm. Contributors like rapper Mark Curry, Roxanne Johnson, Craig Mack's widow, and co-founder Kirk Burrows give viewers a front-row look at a label stretched to its limits. They recount rising tensions, uneven treatment of talent, and the deepening East-West divide that ultimately reshaped 90s hip-hop, showing how a once tight-knit music scene was forced to navigate grief, competition, and internal strife. By weaving these personal perspectives together, the episode captures the pressure and complexity that defined one of the most transformative eras in music history.
From Greg Kading, the detective that worked on Tupac and Biggie's case in this documentary. He is the investigator that did that proffer agreement with Keefe D way back in 2008, where Keefe D alleged that Diddy tried to offer him $1 million to take out Tupac and Suge Knight. And Tupac's trial with Keefe D is coming up very soon in early 2026. And we know that Diddy's name has been dropped at least 200 times during these proceedings already.
Created the atmosphere for both of those guys to lose their life?
I honestly, when I look back on it, if he trusted Sean more, it would have been better. But he didn't trust him as much as the way Sean says they were best friends after he was dead. No, I didn't see that during the time we were working.
Homes have now sent a cease and desist letter to Netflix.
That's right. They are demanding it not release a docuseries featuring
The documentary goes further, uncovering lesser-known events and subtle details that are often missed in mainstream coverage, making it one of the most thorough and revealing looks at Diddy's public controversies to date. It examines the legal battles and high-profile allegations that have placed him under intense national scrutiny, including claims of federal violations that have captured headlines in recent months. While the film clearly notes that a jury did not convict him on the more serious organized crime charges, it also highlights how the swirling speculation, media coverage, and public debate have only amplified his presence in the spotlight. By balancing factual context with the wider cultural reaction, the documentary frames Diddy not just as a figure of controversy, but as someone whose influence and story continue to resonate and provoke strong opinions across the entertainment world.
I'm waiting the whole time for Aubrey O'Day to reveal some major story that happened between her and Diddy. 3 episodes in, she's basically just talking about Diddy in a very general way. It isn't until the 4th episode that Aubrey reveals a witness walked in on Aubrey O'Day completely inebriated with Diddy doing things to her, as well as a second man who they refer to as a light-skinned, tall man. Details are very explicit and not anything I could share on here. This witness revealed that it was 100% Aubrey O'Day. It was really uncertain in watching Aubrey's reaction and kind of resharing this story whether or not she fully recollected the situation. He says it couldn't have been her choice to become inebriated because that was never her issue. She never really drank a whole ton. The earlier parts of this series, Aubrey does reveal these emails, these series of emails that she got from Diddy. They were all in very sexual nature, in a very sexual tone. He's basically asking her to come over and do certain things with him. It's these very domineering emails where he's basically setting the tone that he's the boss. She says that she felt very uncomfortable about those emails and sick.
This documentary doesn't just rehash old allegations, it introduces new claims and revelations that have already reignited media attention and sparked heated public conversation. Viewers are presented with rarely seen footage, reportedly shot inside a New York hotel room just days before Diddy's arrest, captured by a videographer hired specifically for the project. In these intimate moments, he's shown in serious discussions with his attorney, responding to the whirlwind of headlines and the constantly shifting narrative surrounding him. The footage provides a rare window into his state of mind during a critical juncture, revealing a mix of visible frustration, strategic thinking, and acute awareness of the pressure building around him. It's a nuanced portrait that goes beyond the headlines, showing the man behind the media storm navigating one of the most intense periods of his career.
Bad boy, we had gotten over CCNY. It looked like the coast was clear. We were renegotiating with Arista. We were about to get a step up in the money. I had 25% of the company. I didn't know why he needed to get that back from me and then give it back to me again. I didn't understand that. That's like a trick. Like, okay, here, I gave it to you, now give it back, and don't worry, I'm gonna give it right back to you. I didn't want to give it up. So he came into my office one day unexpected, him and Kenny Marsalis, they had it planned out. Kenny had the briefcase with all the stock certificates in it, and Diddy had the bat. Not like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you with the bat, but he had the bat like, man, we got to do this. This has to happen. I didn't feel I was gonna get beat down in that office, in all honesty. I got people that can jump out of the shadows in a minute. I wasn't threatened by him. What I was messed up over was the fact that I started this company with you from day zero, and now the one solid thing that you told me I had, you want to take that back and do a return to me on that at this critical time that we're renegotiating and getting a step up on the contract. When he told me it was about all of that renegotiating and that I should trust, I did, begrudgingly, angry, upset. It wasn't right. I did it. He got the stock back. I went on, tried to get over that, kept doing my job, doing what I had to do, delivering everything. And once again, I was caught up in the job. I forgot all about it. And next thing you know, we had the snafu. I was fired. And he just said, oh, okay, bye. And since he had never given me his stock back, he never said that he would pay me anything or give me anything. He just avoided me all these years. Not only did he avoid me all these years, running high and low, I went on and started working with Mary, who the three of us...
It's uncommon to witness such candid conversations so close to a potential indictment, especially in exchanges that are typically shielded by strict attorney-client confidentiality. Legal experts featured in the documentary note that having a videographer present during these discussions could have complicated those normally protected communications. Diddy's team later told NBC News that the recording was made without their authorization and that they had no knowledge of how it ended up in Netflix's hands. They also emphasized that the videographer had been contractually obligated to keep all private conversations confidential, highlighting the tension between behind-the-scenes documentation and the legal boundaries meant to safeguard sensitive information. The segment underscores just how unusual and legally delicate these glimpses into high-profile legal strategy really are.
Money, Pac wanted to leave, and it could be some other shit that was going on. But they still created an atmosphere for that. You understand that East Coast, West Coast bullshit. When Suge was trying to use the New York guys to, okay, man, come on, let's make some sense of this shit. And have a meeting and sit down with the New York guys and ask for a representative for Puff to come on. Puff was mad. You see now why Puff was mad. Everybody know now why Puff was mad. That he didn't want nobody to come to the meeting because Suge was playing Pay Daddy. Suge was in there playing Play Daddy with Justin. It's crazy. I said, well, how you gonna be mad at Misa and the East Coast, West Coast? And now we see why he was mad. We don't know if Suge sent Puff those pictures years ago. We don't know that. But that's why Puff didn't send a representative when Zipman was asking him, man, let me represent, just let me know. Nah, man, F that. They trying to get a black distribution company, a publishing company, all that for hip hop artists and music. Puff and Jay-Z ain't gonna have shit to do with it. And look who get rewarded behind that. So, to answer your question, I think the atmosphere that they designed and made up led to what we know was an East Coast, West Coast war. And both of them had some responsibility.
This series also reunites figures from across Diddy's career collaborators, performers, and longtime associates, each offering firsthand insight into his rise and lasting influence on culture. Their recollections help fill in gaps, giving viewers a clearer understanding of what it was like to operate within his orbit during pivotal moments in hip-hop history. Among these voices is making the band Alum Obrio Day, who shares her experiences working directly under his guidance. Her reflections add an emotional depth to the episode, illustrating not only the creative opportunities Diddy provided, but also the pressures and challenges of navigating life inside his intense, high-stakes, artistic world. Through these perspectives, the documentary paints a fuller, more personal picture of the man behind the legend.
You say Suge looks over, he sees you? He looks right at you?
Yeah.
Okay. When he looks over at you, and then, Tupac's busy getting shot. Evidently, the story is Tupac's trying to either get out
in the back seat or something.
Yeah, what do you see happening inside there?
I seen a bullet going Suge's head. I thought he was dead. You thought he was dead.
So Orlando start across Dre?
He leaned over on the window, we rolled down the window, popped. They would drove on my side, I would pop them. You know what I'm saying? But they was on the other side.
Designer L.B. Shore, who once shared a personal connection with Kim Porter, contributes his perspective, reflecting on what he says he witnessed during his years close to the family. His account draws on long-term familiarity, offering viewers a glimpse into private dynamics that rarely make headlines. Former bodyguard Roger Bonds also shares his experiences, recounting instances where he claims to have observed Diddy behaving aggressively toward Cassie. Bonds explains that his initial respect and admiration for Diddy slowly gave way to disillusionment as he confronted behavior that, in his view, sharply contradicted the image of the man he once looked up to. Together, these testimonies provide another layer of insight into the complex personal relationships surrounding one of hip-hop's most high-profile figures.
I'm going into details on that one. Keep the streets on me. I ain't gonna go into detail on that.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and read from the book.
Well, so let them buy the book then.
Okay, well, I'm just going to read this passage. The shit was on. Tupac made an erratic move and began to reach down beneath his seat. It was the first and only time in my life that I could relate to the police command, keep your hands where I could see them. Instead, Pac pulled out a strap, and that's when the fireworks started. One of my guys from the backseat grabbed the Glock and started busting back. The first skin shook in the head, and I thought that mother was dead. I had heard some stories, supposedly that Suge used Tupac as a shield when the bullets started flying, but that's some bullshit. Suge was already wounded, and he was the one that got touched. As the rounds continued flying, I ducked down so I wouldn't get hit.
Basically, yeah.
The white Cadillac arm came out the back seat and started letting off.
What went through your head when you saw that?
KPD's 2008 proper agreement, he alleged that Diddy's friend Zip Martin is the one that gave him the weapon that was used to take out Tupac. KPD told the investigator Greg Kading that Zip Martin had a special compartment to keep this weapon in his car that he drove to Las Vegas. And in this documentary, we have Greg Kading confirming that Zip Martin did drive the same type of vehicle that KPD alleged to Las Vegas this night. And then during this documentary, we heard from the former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burroughs, who alleged during this time, Diddy had him hiring a whole bunch of people and getting cars to drive to Las Vegas. And he is now very curious into why Diddy wanted to do this. And he said, in his opinion, he now believes that Diddy was behind taking.
Burroughs later sought to challenge the issue in court, but his lawsuit was dismissed after judges ruled that the statute of limitations had expired. Even with that legal defeat, he continues to face other challenges tied to his long career in the music industry, navigating the consequences of past decisions and disputes that linger decades later. From there, the episode pivots to one of hip-hop's most defining conflicts, the notorious Bad Boy versus Death Row rivalry. This East Coast-West Coast feud didn't just dominate headlines. It reshaped the culture and left a lasting imprint on the sound and business of the era. Death Row boasted legends like Dr. Dre and Tupac, while Bad Boy became home to heavy hitters such as Biggie Smalls, Faith Evans, 112, and Maze. The series explores how this clash of titans fueled tensions, inspired music, and cemented an unforgettable chapter in hip-hop history.
There was the rumor that after Pac got Puffy gave Zip $1 million that was supposed to be handed over, and Zip ended up keeping it. And I remember when I interviewed TK Kirkland, who was actually roommates with Zip at one point, they were that close. He actually said, yeah.
The feds said that too.
He said that actually happened. Well, the story that has circulated was that after Tupac got, Puffy allegedly gave the money,
I heard,
to Zip.
Yes.
And Zip was supposed to give the money to Keefe and them.
Yes.
But he never gave the money to him.
But thank God he never gave him the money, right? Think about it. If he gave the money, Puffy will be in prison now, money for hire. So thank God. It's just a true story. I'm not saying yes or no, but if he would have gave them the money, it'd have been for hire and Puffy would be locked up.
The documentary shows that the label rivalry quickly spilled far beyond the music industry, escalating into real-world, street-level tensions. According to the series, various gang affiliations reportedly aligned with the competing camps, the Crips supporting Bad Boy and Biggie, and the Bloods backing Suge Knight and Death Row. What might have started as a professional rivalry evolved into a complex struggle for influence with serious consequences. At the center of this narrative, the episode explores Diddy's alleged connections to Eric Von Zip, portrayed as a mentor figure who was reportedly linked to Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, a longtime figure in New York street circles. Using archival recordings and commentary from former LAPD detective Greg Kading, the series presents Davis describing his claimed involvement along with his nephew Orlando Anderson in the 1996 Las Vegas shooting that tragically took Tupac's life. This segment underscores how intertwined the music industry, street dynamics, and personal vendettas became during one of hip-hop's most volatile eras. Next Voice. In the documentary, Davis also claims that Diddy had promised payments to him and other associates to target Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight,